Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the webinar today. We are really excited to have you and talk all things payments here. My name is Alex Clark, and I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager here at Weave. And I'm joined today with Tamara. Tamara comes from a wealth of experience in the payments industry, and we're super excited to have her on and to be answering my several questions that I have for her today. So Tamara, would love to, would you please tell us about your background in the payments industry and your role here at Weave?
Sure. So I am Tamara Gray. I'm the Senior Director of Payments on the product and operations side here at Weave. I have about 40 years in the payments background. So I'm kind of a unicorn. I've been on the issuing side and the acquiring side. So I know both sides of the transaction really well. I've worked for retail independent sales organizations, or ISOs, that are merchant processors. And then I was lucky enough to come to Weave in this new SaaS and payments environment. So I'm really excited to be here and answering questions for all the folks on the phone.
Yeah, love it. Thank you so much. So let's talk about payments. You've been in the industry for 40 years. You're that unicorn. How has it evolved over the time that you've been here?
Yeah. It's been crazy. When I very first started my career in payments, there was about 4 different SIC codes, or standard industry codes, meaning that those codes that delineated what business you were in. Now there's thousands. There was also maybe 4 to 10 interchange fees that were different than what the acquirers were charged for processing a transaction. Now there's about 480. So the business has evolved completely in a whole different world. Years and years ago, it was controlled by the big networks, right? Visa and MasterCard, and then American Express. The networks were not-for-profit businesses. So all the income they got from processing merchant accounts, those went back out to their member banks. Now, as we all know, they're public. And so their prices continue to increase. They continue to charge higher fees, which is pushed off to the actual merchants, which is unfortunate. It has made it a very competitive market, and lots of things have changed from a technology perspective, which I think we're going to get into a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a picture here that I don't know how many people will actually know what this is, but can you tell us about this?
We call this a knuckle buster. For people, this is going to really age me in my career, but this is the old thing that you used to have to use. You'd put the card in up there at the top, and then you'd put a 3-piece, sometimes 2-piece, but 3-piece document. You'd slide that thing across, thus the knuckle buster, and give the customer the final copy. It was carbon copy. It was messy, and everything was done manually. There was nothing that was technology. Nothing was fed across real-time authorizations. There used to be a book that you would have to look through to see if the customer was in the suspicious book that held all the fraud data, and those customers that were terminated, and those customers that were committing fraud, and the cardholder accounts that had been violated. It was an old world that we lived in, and now we're so technology savvy. I think if you can show them the new terminal that we're using. We've moved to this, right? This is the Wise POS E, and this is what Weave uses. We're really proud of this. This is a terminal that is so quick, and it's actual NFC, so near field capability. It can pick up a card, tapping it. You can see the little symbol on the top. It can use your Google Pay, your Apple Pay, your phone. It can actually use an EMV reader or the old-fashioned swipe. So we have moved from a world where everything was manual, almost like bartering with chickens to pay. And now we're in technology where everything is immediate. And this terminal is so fast. It takes those payments and authorizes them quicker than any terminal I've seen. So it's really exciting times. I think there will be a time where we'll probably scan people's eyeballs. I'm not really sure where we're headed, but we are headed in technology, continuing to grow our technology in this business.
I don't doubt it. That's amazing. So, I mean, in your time in the industry, what other things have changed? What are some other things that either are, practices that are still in play today? They don't need to be. Talk about that.
I think the biggest change that we've all seen was EMV, which came out a while ago, and we were late to the game, right? Europe came to the game a long time before us, probably 10 years before us. And EMV stands for Europay, MasterCard, Visa. It's the chip. It's the little chip that we all see on our cards now. And the United States market was slow to it because basically American Express drove that. American Express had millions of cards out in the market. And so to reissue those plastics with that chip, it's very expensive. But what that technology has done for us is eliminated the need for signature. There's a lot of people that still take signatures, and I think it's kind of just a comfortable practice. Exactly. Mommy's going to sign on the signature line, right? That signature, we're moving fast away from that. And if you're out using your card, you're probably already seeing that. The signatures aren't required very much anymore. You'll see them a lot still at restaurants and areas where you're doing tips, but even then they're not required, because there was a practice years ago where signatures were required to protect against chargeback. That's no longer the case. And the reason for that is to actually validate that the signature was legitimate, you had to get your cardholder to send their plastic to you. And then you had to get a copy of the signature that was used on the receipt and compare them and present that to Visa or MasterCard or American Express or Discover and get them to say, oh yeah, those signatures don't match. It was ridiculous. And to win chargebacks in that world, it really never happened. EMV has moved us so far away from that now that if the card is present and that EMV chip is red, it's really, really difficult for a cardholder to do a chargeback based on fraud, saying, I didn't make that transaction. That wasn't me. I didn't do that, because they have the EMV chip in there. And the EMV chip is a biochip that changes all the time. It's like a little microprocessor, and the data in there cannot be stripped off. In the old days, they could strip off the data on the back of a mag stripe. That's why they used to say, don't lose your hotel key, because it had a mag stripe on it. And the fraudsters could strip the data off your credit card and put it on a card that was like a hotel room key and use that data. That can't happen in the world of EMV. So that's the biggest change and most exciting change we've seen, especially in protecting our merchants against risk and chargeback.
Man, that's it. That's amazing. You know, and it just goes to show how far advanced technology has come. And you know, we're gonna continue to improve in that. And yeah, amazing. Glad to hear that update on security. Any other common practices today within the payments world that aren't really viable or needed anymore?
You know, pretty much the signature is the one that's just not important. There's other things like, you know, in the old days, we used to ask for ID if somebody presented a card. That is no longer necessary. There's just so much technology in place now, again, in that EMV chip that protects from fraud and protects against chargebacks. I think as long as you're being wise in your practice and you're making sure that you're doing a lot of card present transactions. I know there's a lot of businesses that have still, with COVID, have moved away from card present and they're doing card not present. A lot of our customers like to see that because they want to do the contactless thing. This Wise POS terminal allows you to do contactless. You don't ever have to have a person in your office touch that card. The customer can just tap it. They don't have to touch anything. They don't have to touch the screen. They don't have to enter a PIN. Everything is fully contactless. And that's going to help our merchants, our customers in our payment space to get better pricing on the transactions, to again have that security, and to always know that we're doing the most we can to protect them from risk.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. That's a perfect segue into my next question. You know, what are the payment trends that you've seen regarding the customer preferences or behavior in the last few years? I know, and we have a few stats to show, but love your thoughts on that question.
You know, what we've really seen a lot of, and it was slow to get adopted. The millennials adopted it like crazy, but people of a certain age, and I can say that because I'm of that certain age, they were slower to adopt the Google Pays and the Venmos and the touch to pay kind of technology, the Apple Watches and all of that. But that's become really big because, again, it is contactless. People want to move into a contactless payments space, and the pandemic, as this stat right here demonstrates, that moved us there at such a rapid pace. People suddenly realized that I don't want to touch anything. I don't know who's touched that before me, and I certainly don't want to touch it. So 58% of the customers wanting to use contactless payments, that's huge to us. We're going to continue to see that increase, I think. And customers now, they want to text. We see text to pay, which was one of the key features that we launched first at Weave, which I'm really proud of. It was adopted so quickly. Text to pay is a very natural process for people. You look around any space you're in. I was just in the airport, in the Orlando airport yesterday, and I am telling you, 90% of the people had their head in their phone. So if you had texted them to ask for payment, they would probably naturally have just sent you the payment. So we see faster collections with text to pay because people are just really accustomed to communicating that way. I don't know how many people see millennials sitting around a table at a restaurant and they're texting each other instead of talking to one another. So text to pay is a great way to really drive payments. And I think we'll continue to see that. I think that we're going to continue again to move to the technology, I would not say that biometrics is out of the question. I think biometrics has been talked about since I was in the issuing side of the world. So for years, we've been talking about it. How can we get there? I don't know. When will we get there? That remains to be seen, but I think that's where we're headed.
Yeah, it makes me think of, I read a news article the other, a while ago about this company that if you wanted to, you could put a little chip inside your hand right here in the fleshy part. And as you walk in, you don't need a card to walk into the building. You just put your hand there, and like, didn't get 100% adoption, but it's a test, and people did it, and people got an injection into their hand. And the world is continuing to evolve like that, and people get more free with what technology has to offer. It's amazing.
It is amazing. And the payment space is so ripe for it. There's so much technology that we have in the payments world now, and we can gather so much data on people and what their preferences are and what they're spending their money on, and all of that information through payments. And so technology just helps us take that data and that customer relationship information even further.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, we've talked about where payment processing has been and where it is today. Bold predictions or projections into the future. What should we, besides the biometric side of things, what should we be looking forward to, according to Tamara?
I mean, I think that it's just going to be more technology. I really do. I think payments are going to get smaller. The ability, you're not going to have to carry a bunch of cards. Right now, you carry your phone. You have everything in your wallet, your Apple Wallet. And that's not a pitch for Apple. I'm not being paid by Apple. I'm just saying it's going to continue to move in that direction where you don't have to carry plastic, because plastic is always still a security risk, right? You lose that piece of plastic. I will tell you, I was just in Disney World and they have the magic bands. You lose that magic band and oh my gosh, suddenly your world is opened up. There's a pin associated with it, but there's other things they can do. And so that's why we're trying to get there. The industry continues to try to find better ways, better, faster, safer ways to process transactions. The issue becomes that as fast as we're moving on the positive side of this, the people that are trying to commit fraud and do things that are a little bit more malicious, they're moving faster. So it's always a balance of trying to figure out what can you do that makes payments much more convenient, that makes it easier for your customer to give you money, but protect yourself in the process against any sort of risk. And I think EMV, again, I can't say enough positive things about EMV. EMV has done that. So if you're not in a situation where you're processing with a terminal that can read EMV chips, boy, you got to get there, and you got to get there quick. And we're even moving away from PIN debit a lot. I know that debit cards are a great way for a lot of our medical professionals that are taking HSA cards and FSA cards, prepaid kind of healthcare cards. Debit is fantastic. However, there is some risk with debit. So you need to make sure that you've got that EMV debit card, that they're able to read that chip, even in a debit world. That's going to become more and more important as the networks move away from PIN-based debit being cheaper than signature debit. So we've got to figure out a way that we can kind of level that off, because that is the big value add for our offices right now. And we're seeing the networks move away from that and raise the prices there. So the good thing about Weave is that we're keeping everything at a flat rate price. As long as the transaction is in person, you get one price. If it's a card not present, it is a little bit more expensive because the risk is much higher. So there's that downgrade. So I would recommend that you always look at all of your pricing to see what you're being charged on all of those different kinds of card transactions. That's going to be the big differentiator I would see coming in the next 24 months, probably.
Yeah, got it. Sounds like there's a from the business side of things, there's an increasing desire and need to be on top of your numbers, know what you're paying as a processor or as the business to your processor, but also there's this, we've talked about the increasing customer, the demands of customers and what they're requiring of the people they go to, of the healthcare providers that they go to. Do you have contactless? Do you have EMV? Do you have these things? Do you have even like we talked about text to pay? Do you have these conveniences that have become more mainstream for our customers? And if you don't, what happens to your business because of it?
Right. Well, and the other big thing that the world has become very aware of is breach, right? So if you are not presenting your payments opportunity in a very secure way, which is something that Weave does very well, protecting that customer's data, because a breach becomes a nightmare for your customers, for your end user. They are faced with having to go in and shut down all their cards and change all of their information and monitor their credit bureau. And that becomes a really heavy lift for a customer. And so that is a brand hit that I think our customers need to be really, really aware of. If you're not providing a very secure payment processing method for your customers, they're savvy. They're becoming more and more savvy on, wait a minute. I can tell you, I was in a store a little while ago and it was a little boutique and the woman was still using the old Square device that plugged into the ear jack of an iPhone. And the girl, she had probably $400 or $500 worth of clothes and merchandise sitting on the counter. And she said, oh no, I won't let you process my transaction through that method because it can be breached. So customers are starting to know that. So using a terminal that's secure, using a text to pay method that's encrypted, making sure that your customers know that you are PCI compliant, which if you're processing with Weave, we are sitting under the Stripe umbrella. It's a very, very high level of PCI compliance. And that's important. That's important for our customers to remember because again, as fast as we're moving to make those transactions quick, the fraudsters are moving just as fast to steal that data. So it's important that customers know that your end users or patients know that you are protecting them in that transaction.
Yeah. And that you're protecting yourself as well. This is your livelihood. This is your finances, making sure that all that stays protected in a clear way. Yeah,
absolutely. And the other important thing to remember is exactly what you said, Alex, about knowing how much you're paying. Part of the thing that I'm really proud of in the way that we built our Weave payment processing is you can see every single day what you're paying. It's clearly displayed for you in your admin portal so you can do the math, because sometimes there's people in the industry that they'll add little basis points here and there without you knowing, and suddenly those few basis points can add up to hundreds and hundreds of dollars if those basis points if you're being charged higher than what your contract states. And it's hard to keep track of a bunch of different interchange rates. If you're in an interchange plus environment, which a lot of merchant processors provide, that is tough to keep track of. So having a flat rate like what Weave provides makes it really easy for you to manage your money and make sure that you're paying what your contract says you should be paying. And you should always be able to see that very, very clearly. If you're not seeing that and you're not processing with Weave, I would suggest coming to and processing with Weave, or at least reaching out at a minimum to your current merchant service provider and making sure that you do an audit of what your statement says so that you're clear and you know that you're being charged what you should be being charged. And watch those miscellaneous fees, the convenience fees, like statement fees, monthly fees, annual fees, all of the little fees that they nickel and dime you to death with. Weave does not do that either because we want this to be really transparent. And you guys have a big lift trying to manage your daily business. We know how hard business is to manage right now. Everybody's got so much on their plates. So we're trying to make payment processing as easy and transparent as we can for you so that you don't have to be looking every single month and auditing what's happening. And did they charge me a fee that they shouldn't have? And did I pay more for this transaction than I should have, et cetera, et cetera. We want to make it easy and simple for you and help you manage your money as effectively as we can. You get your payments within 48 hours. It's simple. It goes right into your checking account or savings account, wherever you direct it. And again, you can see the money that's going in and the money that you're going to keep. And that's important. You're not going to get hit at the end of the month for all your fees being stripped out of your DDA. You get the money and you get to keep it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Thank you.
Sure.
So kind of in summary, I mean, we've talked about all these, the past, the present, the future, talked about all the different, so many different things. What does, for these people who are not yet part of the digital payments era, or even that want to take another step forward, what does transitioning to a more digital payments process mean for a typical office?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple if you're going to transition to an account like Weave's Payments. We make it very, very simple. All you need to do is sign up, set up a Stripe account. It's pretty simple to do that. You don't have to go through a 12 or 14 page merchant processing agreement. It's very click to pay. It's all automated. You get set up immediately within about 5 minutes. If you have all of your information available, you'll have a terminal sent out to you. It takes 3 steps to register that terminal and you're processing payments. In the meantime, the minute you set up your Stripe account, you're good to do text to pay. So it's pretty simple to do that. All you need to do is schedule a demo. We've got a request payments demo button for you. If you want to click on that, we'd be more than happy happy to have a demo scheduled for you. We can talk through it. If you think that you'd like to have an analysis done, we can also do a free analysis for you and tell you exactly what you're paying at your current merchant service provider and what we could offer for you as far as a rate is concerned. It's pretty slick process that we're really proud of.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but other typical payment processors, they, the process might be could be more time consuming, more, they might require more information. Can you speak to that a bit?
Yeah. If you go through a traditional merchant service provider, you're going to, again, be faced with a 10, 12, 14-page MPA, a merchant processing agreement. They're going to ask you for financial statements. They're going to ask you for information regarding your business. They may even ask you for a Dun & Bradstreet rating. They will pull a credit bureau on you. They will do a full background check on all of the information that you've provided. And it can take up to 2 weeks for some merchant service providers. They are also going to have you sign a contract. It can be anywhere from a 1 to 3 year contract, and it's steep. If you cancel that contract, there's a lot of teeth. Weave does not have any of that. We have a very simple click to agree process. You're going to set up an account with Stripe. They're going to verify a little bit of information. They're going to do a soft inquiry against your credit bureau just to make sure that there's somebody legitimately setting up a Stripe account with them. And then we're going to go out and start processing for you. There's no contract. If you don't want to process with us anymore, you just give us 30 days notice, send the terminal back, and no harm, no foul. You can move on and try somebody else. So I do want to just address, Alex, we just had a question come in. Somebody's asking about if there will be a receipt printed out. We don't have a receipt right now that comes out of the terminal. As you can see, that WisePOS E, it's not a terminal printer. We've moved away. That is one thing I should have mentioned. We moved away from that old smelly terminal paper, the thermal paper that loses the print on it and everything. But in your admin portal, you can go in and open up the transaction and print out a receipt from your normal printer for your customer if they would like a receipt. It's very, very easy to get a receipt. So hopefully, Fabiola, that answers your question.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much.
Sure.
All right. So, we talked about a bunch, and I just wanted to review a bit how payments, syncs up with some of the rest of the system, or, how it's part of the rest of Weave. What would you say about that, Tamara?
I think that we built a payments processing system for our customers, not because we want to be merchant processors, right? That's not our goal. Our goal is to provide the complete business toolbox to our customers, all the services that you need to run your business effectively, quickly, and efficiently. Again, we know what you guys are faced with every single day. A lot of the people at Weave have been in dental offices or veterinarian offices, opto offices, home services. So we know all the demands that you're up against. That's why we've created a really transparent system for you that works inside your Weave application. Again, it's all housed inside your admin portal. So you're running your Weave application all day long. We have phones, the Ms. Call Text, team chat, scheduling, reviews, analytics, and payments, everything under one roof. You don't have to manage a bunch of different vendors. You've got everything right in front of you. It's a really simple one-step process. Awesome.
I love it. Thank you. Sure. Tamara, this has been so wonderful, so insightful. We have a bit of time if anybody wants to include some questions in the chat or in the Q&A, but would love to just wait a few seconds on that to give them some time to ask any questions if they have them. As you said, Tamara, we had that request payments demo button at the top. So if anyone's interested in learning a bit more about how we do payments and what it might look like for your office, please definitely hit that button.
We have seen a couple of people ask if the recording is going to go out. There is a recording of this that will be sent out, I believe, from our team. Isn't that correct, Alex?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, great. And then somebody just asked what the fee per transaction is. Our general flat rate is 2.40% and 25 cents a transaction. That's our flat rate. And then there's a 50 basis point downgrade if it's a card not present transaction. Now, if you feel like your rate is better than that and more competitive, again, we would be more than happy to do a statement analysis for you and set the most preferable rate that we can for you. We are able to beat or meet a lot of rates because we do, again, have a very competitive pricing model. Again, we're not in this just to make money as a payment processor. We have the benefit of having your full relationship. And so this for us is about your loyalty, about having that complete toolbox for you and having everything under one roof. And then there was another question, does the payment go directly to your practice work system? We are unfortunately not integrated at this point. We are working on that. We have our first integration will be with Open Dental. We're working hard on that, but we are not integrated with any of the other PMS systems.
Yeah, one thing about that, while we don't have that per se, we do have great features like text to pay, and as you have the whole Weave system, if anytime you're on a customer looking at them, you can click on that payment icon and then text out to them or process to them. So there's a lot of benefit to having it connected to the rest of Weave.
Yeah, there is. And then so Nicole has asked, how do we know what patient the payment is for? When you go into your Weave application, again, because everything is in your admin portal, you'll select the payment icon, the customer first, or excuse me, the payment icon, and then the customer that will be in your contacts. So the customer is in your contacts, it pulls that customer up and it ties it directly across. You'll see all of that in your admin portal. You'll see exactly who the customer was that made the payment, what the amount of the payment was, and all of that information will be passed directly through. It's very, very simple for you to look at that and access that information. And then we have a question about if you want to upgrade your terminal. I think that probably is some people that signed up early in the game, and thank you for being a loyal customer that signed up early, Abby. So we were using the P400 wired terminals. If you'd like a wireless terminal, please reach out to payments@getweave.com and make that request, and we can reach directly. A member of my team will reach out to you and help you get a new payments terminal if you'd like one of the WisePause E. And then someone's asking if we're going to be offering an option to put something on the website. Yes, we are hard at work to get 2 more features released, which is recurring billing and then a 24/7 link that you can add on your website so you can make payments. We're hoping that will be coming out soon. Our development team is working fast and furious to get that released, so stay tuned. We'll notify all of our customers when we're ready to go out. We will be looking for customers to beta that. So Tristan, if you're interested in being a beta for us, please again reach out to payments@getweave.com and we'll add you to the beta list. And then there's somebody that's saying, what if a payment is from a parent who has multiple kids? It will not tell you, unfortunately, what child. It doesn't link to the child. It links to the family at this point. We are looking at some of the other services. Thanks, Tristan. Be sure and reach out. We appreciate that. But we are looking at how we can get the multiple children because we recognize that that's an issue. But right now it will link to the family. Any other questions?
Cool. Well, this has been so great. Hope this has been helpful for all you that have been attending here. Oh, let's see.
Oh, there's one more.
One more question for you, Tamara.
So let's see. It says, how does the patient know how to pay? Is this a link? So if it's a text to pay, a link is sent out to them. Yes. And they just click on it and it gives them the option to put in their payments information and send it back. If they're standing at the checkout desk, then the terminal is right there and they'll just click on that and do the payment. And then there's a demo. Please, again, click on that request payments demo, and there will be a demo sent out. And then we are sending out, Bonnie asked if we would send a replay. Yes, we will be sending a replay out. Absolutely. And we do save card on file, Stephen. Stephen Carter has asked if we save cards on file. We do. So that is information that there's just a little box when they make the payment. They can select if it's okay to have that. They can opt in to have that card saved. It is fully encrypted. Again, we're all about security here and protecting your customers' data. So it is fully encrypted. It's not even held inside Weave. It's held at Stripe in a fully tokenized platform. So it's really safe and secure. These are all great questions. I love it. So let's see. I think that's about it. Any other questions from anybody else in our last couple of minutes here? Okay.
Awesome. Well, we're going to wrap. Thank you so much, Tamara. It's always a pleasure to have you on the call. And thank you all for attending and watching. Definitely reach out and request that demo if you have questions about how this might work well for your office. And hope you all have a great day.
Yeah, thank you very much. If anybody's an existing customer, please feel free to reach out to us at payments@getweave.com if you have questions that we didn't answer. We're always there and available to answer your questions. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.